Meaning to bring this up. I keep forgetting about it. I've been trying to get to the bottom of shoot, I can't think that mountain that Negro or Negro, but ending with the hard ER. You know what I mean? Mountain in Virginia, because they claim it's supposed to be a holy site um, for the Cherokees, the Negro Cherokees in Virginia. But I'm trying to get to the bottom. They don't really give too much information as to why it's a holy site and whatnot. And every time I go over that, when I get frustrated, I guess towards the end, my mind goes back to this because it was one thing that I seen. I thought it was. I've seen this in person, and it's really incredible. They call it Glassy Mountain, and I don't know if this picture actually is doing it any justice, but when the sun reflects off this side of this hill here, this mountainside, it actually shines like glass or water running off of it. Let me see. Yeah, it's probably as good as when it comes to focus my phone's gonna do. And here we go.
Glassy Mountain is a mountain close to Pickens, South Carolina, USA, in northwestern South Carolina, with a summit elevation of 1,647 feet (502 meters) above mean sea level. While it is in isolated Monadnock, it is still close to the Blue Ridge, providing views of nearby summits such as Table Rock and Caesar's Head as well as Greenville. The mountain gets its name from a large bare granite face on its north side. At the top of this rock face are small springs that trickle down the mountain, giving it a glassy appearance in the sun. It is easily accessible as a small service road for transmitter towers leads to the summit. Local high schoolers often paint the rock face with graduation years. These year numbers can be so large as to be seen on aerial imaging of the mountain.
And that's what I was talking about. Like when you see it in person, it looks like the mountain is literally shining. But one of the things that caught me here was the other two mountains. Caesar's Head. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. And if I did, I wasn't paying attention because I remember the Glacier Mountain. I remember the Blue Ridge Mountains. I cannot ever recall hearing about Caesar's Heads. But here it is. So there was something new.
Caesar's Head State Park is a park in northern Greenville County, South Carolina, that borders Transylvania County, North Carolina, and is reached via a US 276. The eponymous rock formation, one of the highest points in Greenville County, is a granitic gneiss outcrop at 3,208 feet (978 meters) above sea level on the Blue Ridge escarpment of the Blue Ridge Mountains and rests roughly 2,000 feet (600 meters) above the Piedmont below. The origin of the name Caesar's Head is disputed. Although the outcrop was most likely named for an early mountaineer's dog, one Caesar's Head State Park and Jones Gap State Park are jointly administered by the State Department of Parks, Recreation, and Tourism as part of the Mountain Bridge Wilderness.
Really, you named it after a dog's head? That's the story you wanted. That's what you want to tell the public. I doubt it because I mean I just know no. Oh wow, that's so frustrating.
1825, the state engineer and noted architect Robert Mills described Caesar's Head as mass of granite rising from the vale through which a rapid river winds its turbulent way. The ledges of stone, rising almost perpendicular, and at length hanging over at the top so that they seemed to totter to their fall. 2. After the completion of the Jones Gap Road in 1848, a former state senator, Benjamin Hagood, purchased about 2,400 acres around Caesar's Head where he built a summer cottage and later a hotel to take advantage of the area's cool breezes, moderate temperatures, and breathtaking views. 3. The hotel closed in 1862, and Hagood died in 1865, leaving the property to his daughter Eliza and her husband, Dr. Francis Miles, the first physicist in Pickens County. During the Civil War, the area was frequented by deserters from the Confederate Army. 4. But by 1876, the Mileses were operating a health resort on the mountain. 5.
Well, I guess that's the story they're sticking to it. I just doubt it that they named it after a dog. When I remember learning that people in was it Tennessee, right there, the state right next to it, right above Georgia, that when they were burying their dead, they still were practicing Roman practices of putting coins in their eyes and just other stuff like that. It's hard for me to actually think that they would have turned around and named their dog Caesar if they were still wholly trying to practice, Roman tradition and acting like, that was still their culture and stuff like that. It's hard to me to think that the most famous of their of icons, they would turn around and someone would name a dog that and say, "Oh, that's why we named this mountain that." That just doesn't fly. But this is one I thought you guys might like. And there's Table Rock State Park at the edge of the Blue Ridge Mountains in northern Pickens County, South Carolina. The park includes however you pronounce that, the tallest mountain totaling within the state. Here, go down here. This is where it gets good. Because I had no idea this is what this is supposed to be all about.
Prior to the signing of the Hopewell Treaty of 1785, the land now encompassed by Table Rock State Park was part of the Lower Cherokee Nation. The Cherokee called the area Saukanagat, the Great Blue Hills of God, and they established many hunting camps in the area. 8. According to folklore, Table Rock Mountain received its name from a Cherokee legend in which the flat-topped mountain served as a table from which the Great Spirit ate his meals. 9. Europeans moved into the Illinois River Valley soon after the signing of the Hopewell Treaty, settling at Pumpkintown and named for the unusually large pumpkins grown there. William Sutherland and James Keith operated a wayside lodge for visitors, and in 1845 they built the 20-room Table Rock Hotel, which prospered until the Civil War. Visitors increased again after Reconstruction, and Stephen Keith reopened the Table Rock Hotel. In 1899, Keith's family built a new hotel on a new location on the mountain, but by 1912 had abandoned it. 8.
So these, as you see now, it's easy that the name gets its name from Table Rock, gets its name from the Cherokees, claiming that it's a place setting that the Great Spirit ate his meals on. Now my question is for those out there: what else is there that we don't know about, or what else can you find? Because my sister's been showing me stuff in Florida that's all over the place, that's in our face, and it's like, wait a minute, like we literally found, what's the place over there, Lebanon, Florida, when before all this time, if you search for Lebanon, Florida, they try to tell you it's a church. She literally has gone to see some of the mounds, you know, and just taking advantage of it before, it's not, there's no opportunity. My adopted parents raised me in, they, I'm from Florida, but they moved us to South Carolina, in Greenville, South Carolina. And they bought some land. And in that land, there was the neighbor across the street talked about how he found Indian graves on his property, right? With arrowheads and some hats and some crosses in his yards. So, they've always been excited. Oh, these are Indian, Indian, Indian. Well, I remember when I got into, when I got out of the Christian church and I started searching around because I knew there was something wrong. I knew there was something more. I knew the Christian church wasn't it, and I was looking around at, the Black Hebrew Israelites and all this stuff. And that's when I, came, there was a woman who actually told me that, about Lex, and, I started watching his stuff, and it started putting everything in order, starting with the whole who is Jesus and all that stuff, right? And I remember, maybe it was about 3 years ago that we found out, my sister and I found out we were Choctaw. Well, we found out that the Indian is the quote-unquote Negro, right? Or what they've always tried to tell you, that the appearance of someone that looks like me and you are Negroes, and we're Africans, but we're actually the Indians, or we're actually the British. We're furthest from Africans, is what I'm trying to say. Well, on that land, when I went back, I was telling my parents about that, that the Negro is the Indian, and my father told me that he actually went down and got the county records, and he said that the man that founded the town that they were in brought his slaves, and that those graves weren't Indian graves, but they were Negro graves. And I'm like, wait a minute, before you knew any of this stuff, based on the information that you could observe from the scene, you thought they were Indian. If the county says they were slaves, but all the artwork that was left behind, the burial, the arrowheads, the hats, the crosses are Indian, then doesn't that verify what I'm saying? And that's all in Greenville, where all this stuff, can be found. In Pickens and in Greer. Check this out. Just one last thing here. Because I just wanted to see who
the Cherokees' primary deity, the creator, was called Yahweh or Yehovah. The Cherokee associated order with good and chaos with evil.
This is from this website here. I'll scroll back to the top. I just wanted to see if they're saying that mountain was supposed to be the dinner plate for this creator god. What would be the name of this? But for the ones in the Carolinas.
The Cherokee held several large seasonal festivals, including the Busk or Green Corn Ceremony. This was a celebration of renewal held in late summer when the corn crop ripened. It was common among other southeastern tribes as well. Villages had two chiefs, a white chief who lead in times of peace and a red chief who lead in times of war. Though men were priests and chiefs, women played an important role in village politics and even participated in councils.
Oh, whoa. That's creepy, right? Isn't that almost set up like a chessboard? Black pieces. No, that's checkerboard, right? It's a checkerboard. Black and red, right? But it also makes you think of like the Vatican, right? With the black pope and the red pope, or the white pope. I'm sorry. Wow. And I was waiting for them to say they had a festival of wine, because the festival of corn, and for them the green corn, and I'm wondering if they have a festival of wine. But I'll add this in the comment sections here. There you go.